Welcome to the second live for the Embodied Leadership Circle for the month of June. And today we are going to be talking about holding your center when life doesn't cooperate. And I think this is just a very timely thing. I have definitely been in many situations throughout my life where things were not cooperating, where life was not cooperating. And, mostly I was probably trying to, control or force some kind of outcome in some way, or had to come in some certain way, or I didn't identify some limiting belief that I still had, or some, trauma that I was still holding on to. There was always something that, it was revealing beneath the layer. But I've definitely lived in the world that you're living in just as much, and the world that we're all living in right now. That life doesn't cooperate with many of us. It doesn't cooperate with humanity or with our divinity. So let's dip into this. So first, I would like to say welcome, and I would like you to just take a moment to arrive. And that's also so that I can take a moment to arrive and to also slow down, because we're not in a hurry. So notice your breathing. Notice your body. Notice the support beneath you. Notice the room around you. There's nothing to change. There's nothing to fix. Just arrive. All right, last time we explored the difference, and I need to fix my window. My window is being funky. All right. Last time we explored the difference between healing and leadership. We explored the movement from understanding ourselves to leading ourselves. And we talked about a lot of different things, and the things that were talked about were very public, and we decided that it was not appropriate to share those things publicly, so that recording's not available. But I will go back and record the information portion of it, and then I'll put it in the group as a video. All right, so today we're going to take that conversation deeper, because most people can stay centered when life is easy. It's easy. When life is good, it's easy to stay connected to yourself. It's easy to stay in that space, right? It's easy to stay connected to your body and to have that clarity. And that's one of the key factors that you notice is the clarity that you have. And it's easier to maintain when everything is going according to plan. Well, in leadership, you're not always guaranteed that things are going to go according to plan, because I've been leading 250 nurses. There's always something that can go according to someone else's plan. And then you've just got to be the leadership. So leadership is not revealed when life is comfortable. It's actually revealed when life becomes inconvenient. When the plans change, or when uncertainty appears, when emotions arise, when someone disappoints us, when circumstances don't cooperate, then we actually have to ask ourselves, can I remain connected to myself when life is not doing what I want it to? And that is what we're going to explore today. Because I've been there. And you're nursing, you're managing a nursing unit, and you're managing the emerge department, and the charge RN calls in, and you have to replace her. And because she's the charge RN, that even more limits who you can replace her with. You can't replace her with baby nurses. Baby nurses can't be charge nurses. You can't replace her with somebody that's of a lower designation, like an LPN or an RPN. So the practical nurses, they can work in the emerge, but they can't assume a charge role and not over top of a registered nurse. So it complicates things. When that stuff goes on, being connected and grounded and able to remain present is huge. It's going to allow you to remain clear, be able to make decisions on the fly, think outside of the box, come up with some creative solution and things like that. So being connected, and and speaking in my experience, being connected is significant in allowing yourself to make wise decisions and not responding emotionally or then getting all foggy in the brain and everything else. All right. So I have this reflection that I want you to think about. In the last 2 weeks, where has your life not cooperated? It could be something unexpected happened. It could be someone disappointed you. It could be that plans were changed, circumstances shifted, or emotions arose. So you can write down a couple of things or just make note of them mentally. And the next question then is, what happened? Now, I invite anyone, if they wish, to participate or share. I'm giving that opportunity. I will share mine because at first I was like, no, I think everything was, no, everything didn't go smoothly this week. On solstice, I had planned to do a ceremony where I married Mother Gaia, the elements, and the directions. This is something that is a Irish tradition. And I have Irish ancestry. And so I heard about this tradition, and because of all the work that I've been doing with Mother Gaia and the elements and embodied spirituality and the books that I've been writing and experiences that I've been having, this was something that felt very aligned with me. So I did this whole ceremony. I created this, I did a compass on the ground is really what it is. There's a circle, and then I did the directions on across the circle. I've decorated it with flowers and plants and shells and feathers and all things to represent the elements and the abundance of the land. And then it rained and it rained and it rained and it rained and it rained. and I could not do the ceremony. And that day I went for a walk and the rain was just pouring down. And I cried. I cried. I had sadness. I was very sad and disappointed that plans changed, circumstances shifted. Something outside of me was not cooperating with what I wanted. Absolutely. Absolutely. I ended up recreating the ceremony inside. I pushed my live an hour and a half later so that I could transition to do it in the house. I blessed I looked at the water as more of a blessing, and I did a different little bit of a ceremony part to just honor the water that was coming down, that was cleansing. And there's memory, and water's also tied to ancestors. So by allowing myself to process it through it in that way, I released what was there. But yeah, I did get sad and disappointed because my plans changed because the weather would not cooperate. So yeah, did you want to share?
Good.
Okay.
Good.
No, it's perfect. All righty. So circumstances versus state. One of the greatest misunderstandings in personal growth is the belief that our external circumstances determine our internal state. We often unconsciously believe that when this changes, I'll feel better. When they change, I'll feel peaceful. When life settles down, I'll feel grounded. When I finally achieve blank, then I'll be okay. And I don't know, I'm pretty sure I've thought of all of these at different points in my life. And definitely when I finally achieve this, then I'll be okay. When I finally make this much money, then I'll be okay. All right. But leadership asks a different question. It doesn't ask what is happening. Instead, it asks, who am I being while this is happening? Because you may not be able to do anything about the external circumstances around you. You know, I did whatever I thought I could. I spoke to all of the elements, I meditated, I asked, I actually commanded, I tried it all. Throughout the course of the day, I tried manifesting in every single way possible that mass amount of rain that was anticipated for us, like hundreds of millimeters of rain was forecast. Like I was trying to move that. And and so it's not a I couldn't do anything about those circumstances. All I could do was deal with how I was responding to those circumstances. Circumstances are external. Your state is internal. Circumstances will always fluctuate, and life is inherently uncertain. There will always be change. There will always be challenge. You hope, right? We don't grow if there's no challenge. We don't. There has to be challenge. Now, people will say there's no growth without pain. So they think that trauma or that those types of experiences are a necessity in order for growth. It's not pain, it's challenge. Discomfort's the word they're looking for. We don't want pain. We want maybe a little bit of discomfort, because discomfort's going to make you move. Unpredictability and transition. So leadership is developing the capacity to remain connected to yourself while you're moving through all of these different fluctuations. And it's not about perfection. None of it is ever about perfection. It doesn't matter how much healing you do. There is no perfect. Because perfect is actually refinement. But the word's been distorted, and now it's been made to be this word that's synonymous with flawless. And we've tried to kind of, sully it a little bit by going, well, perfect's in the eye of the beholder. And that's true. Perfect is a very subjectable thing, or, subjective thing. But at the end of the day, the true meaning beneath the word perfect is refinement and mastery. That's the whole concept of it. So it's not about perfect in the sense of flawless, and you never to have, anything but peace and joy. And, every day is supposed to just be, right? It's not about that. It's about remaining connected to yourself while those fluctuations are happening consistently. So more frequently, you are balanced. More frequently, when something happens, it doesn't ruin your day. More frequently, you're able to manage the stressors as they come in and respond from the wise mind, from the grounded place, with your breath steady, your nervous system regulated, all of that. And then there's the times when we weren't watching things and, now you're crying because it's raining and it's okay. So a reflection question is, where in your life are you currently waiting for external circumstances to improve before allowing yourself to feel okay? And we are going to talk about this off camera, and we will return momentarily. No. Sorry, I thought for a second there I didn't record it, and I was just like, oh my gosh, but I did. All right, we had some great conversation about that. Please do drop it in the comments, what you came up with your reflection, with your answers to the reflection question. All right, so we're going to talk about emotional weather. Many people become frightened by their emotions. They believe emotions mean that there's something wrong, that they are failing, that they have lost their progress, that they're moving backwards. Lots and lots of things. I know for much of my time, I just didn't understand how to manage my emotions. They seemed very big and overwhelming. And yeah, so it was overwhelming because that's what I thought of them. But emotions are weather, and weather changes. No one stands outside during a storm and says, I guess this is the weather forever. Yet people often do this internally. They experience sadness or fear or anger or grief or frustration and immediately create a story. I'll always feel this way. As a leader, you recognize emotions are information. Emotions are experiences. Emotions are visitors. They are not your identity. You are not an angry person. You are a person experiencing anger. And it goes on and on for the rest of it. There's a profound difference when we say, I am anxious, and also saying anxiety is present. And I have said I am anxious a number of times. And we know now anything that follows I am is very powerful. So saying anxiety is present or feelings of anxiety are present or changing it from that identity of anxiety, because that's what it's doing. It's creating an identity. The other one is just creating awareness about what you're feeling in the current moment. The one traps you. The other one allows you to move and process through it. So, what emotional weather has been most present for you recently? For me, peace, awe, and gratitude have been pretty high, and joy as well. I've been quite happy recently, besides my sadness over the weather the other day, which is why I thought this is just beautiful to call it emotional weather. Now, the other question is, what happens when you remember that emotions move? Well, that for me was, it was allowed to move through me. I allowed myself to cry. I didn't chastise myself. I held myself in compassion. So there's no avoidance or suppression, and there's no excess of it where it becomes an identity or you sit and stew in it. And, I used to say that all the time, feel your emotions, don't become them. So I'm going to pause for a second just to see if there's anything to add to that. And if so, then I'll return after. Alrighty, so this is the part that I'm super excited to get to within this, and this is the 4 anchors of embodied leadership. So I'm just so excited to introduce these. These are simple practices that help us remain connected to ourselves when life becomes noisy or chaotic or just uncooperative. Our first anchor, breath. Breath immediately influences your state. When activated, most people hold their breath, they breathe shallowly, or they speed it up. Leadership begins by noticing, where is my breath? And what is it doing right now? Because if it's up here, then it's not grounding me. And if it's really fast, then I am activated. If I'm holding it, I can look into that. So the practice then, when you notice your breath, is to then take 3 slow breaths where you lengthen the exhale. And then you say to yourself, what changed? Anchor 2, the body. The activation pulls us out of the body and into our head. We begin catastrophizing, future tripping, and overthinking. Well, the body, it exists only in the present. So ask yourself, what sensations are present in my body right now? Because that's going to bring you into your body. And then you're going to feel. And you're going to feel your feet. You're going to feel your hands. You're going to feel your seat and the support beneath you. All right. Anchor 3 is perspective. When activated, our perspective narrows and feel that little freaking little oh my God, the rain, all the water. Everything feels urgent, everything feels personal, everything feels permanent, and we don't want that. For one, we don't like concrete terms like that. It's not always, it's not everything, it's not never. So leadership widens your perspective. So you're going to ask yourself, will this matter in 1 year? You can dial it down as much as you want from that point. Will it matter in 6 months? Will it matter in 6 weeks? Will it matter in 6 minutes? Depending on how long it's going to matter to you, that depends on the amount of energy you want to give it. If it's not going to matter in a minute or 6 minutes from now, then why give it any energy at all? Second question, what else might be true? I'm not always the right one, and my perspective isn't always the true and only perspective. Usually there is that person's perspective, my perspective, and the truth is somewhere in between both of those perspectives, plus a little extra that neither one of us are getting, because my trauma pinball machine brain said this, and their trauma pinball machine brain said this, and they're clearly on opposites. But the truth is somewhere within that. And so it's asking ourselves, what else might be true? And the other thing that we can ask ourselves is, am I reacting to this moment or to something older? And usually the indicator of that is the proportion of response that we're having. If it's in alignment, right? Like if someone came up and slapped you across the face, you have every right to be upset. You have every right to be angry. You have every right to be defensive, right? Somebody just slapped you, physically assaulted you. If somebody said something to you and you physically assault them, that is more than likely disproportionate. And you should be looking at, what are you responding to from older? Maybe you were somebody that was bullied excessively and so on and so forth. And that's what led to that particular, where it just exploded out. That's not condoning it. I'm just using it as an example. All right. Anchor 4, choice. Leadership always returns to choice. No matter what has happened, what is the next aligned choice that's available to you? Not what should I do for the rest of my life? Just what is my next step? Maybe your next step isn't a step. Maybe your next step is to take a breath. Maybe your next step, again, isn't a step. Maybe it's to journal some of the feelings that you're having out so that you can, through the process of writing, intentionally flow into a state of automatic writing where you're going to start to all of a sudden channel some really cool information and insight that you weren't maybe aware of about how two things are actually linked more than you realize. So yeah, your next step, maybe it is take a step, go outside, go for a walk and interact with nature and breathe deeply while you do it. One step, one breath, one moment. It's never the whole thing all at once. All right. I have an exercise for us. It is called the recent challenge reflection. So you are invited to journal on a recent challenge. Now, if you have a piece of paper and pen handy, I want you to nod. So I know you can write this down. And if you can't, that's okay. I can send it right after this portion of the thing. I'll send it to you, the participants. For everyone else, I'll put this little segment, I'll put it in the recording so that you can look at it and read it. So you're going to reflect on a recent challenge and you're going to write down what happened. How did I respond? Which anchor did I lose first? Was it your breath, your body, your perspective, or your choice? And which anchor could support you next time? Could it be your breath? Could it be your body? Could it be your perspective or your choice? All right. I'm going to just pause for 1 second to check in with the participants, and then we'll do this guided practice. All righty. So we're going to do this guided practice. And to begin, you're going to close your eyes. And I want you to take a nice breath in through your nose, deep into your tummy, up into your chest, and then exhale nice and slow through your mouth. We're going to repeat that breath 2 more times. Nice and deep in through the nose, filling up the belly, up to the chest, and out nice and slow, with the exhale being longer than the inhale. And one final lengthy breath where we deepen it into our tummy and then exhale nice and long. Now I invite you to bring to mind a current challenge. And I want you to notice what emotions arise in your body. And what sensations arise in your body. Now, we are going to slowly move through each anchor. First, we're going to take 3 nice, slow breaths. In through your nose, out through your mouth. In through your nose, out through your mouth. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Feel your feet. Feel your seat. Bring your awareness to your breath. Place your awareness in your chest. Now notice the body. Now we're going to ask, what else might be true? And allow an answer to rise without judgment. And now we're going to ask, will this matter in 1 year? And now we're going to move into the final anchor, choice. And ask yourself, what is your next aligned step? What is my next aligned step? And I want you to notice what shifts. And now I want you to take a nice deep breath in and out. And return when you are ready. Now, for those who are catching the replay, I want you to ask yourself what shifted during the practice, which anchor feels strongest for you, which anchor needs more attention, and how might these anchors support you this week? Life will continue to surprise you, and people will continue to disappoint you. Plans will change, emotions will arise. Leadership is not about the absence of challenge. Leadership is remaining connected to yourself while challenge unfolds. You do not need to control life. You just need to stay with yourself. The weekly integration practice throughout this week, whenever you notice activation, ask yourself, which anchor do I need right now? Breath, body, perspective, or choice? You're going to pause, reconnect, then move forward. Take a final breath. Place your hand on your heart and ask yourself, what would become possible if I stopped abandoning myself when life became difficult? Sit with that. I thank you all for being here, and I look forward to hearing what unfolds before we gather again. I will see you in the circle.